What's up, everybody? My name is Parasite, and welcome back to the final ever episode of Reimagining Manchester United. This is it. This is the end of season review. This is where we're going to start. We won, obviously, the 4 trophies we were going for: the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup. Those were the 4 trophies we were looking to finally get to in the series, and that's what we got this season. We did it. We got every trophy we were after. The new arrivals, Haaland, obviously for a lot of money, 134 million, but 35 goals and 39 appearances and 9 assists. That's really freaking good. He was the striker we needed him to be. Theo Hernandez for about 100 million. He wasn't quite as good as I'd hoped. Still, a 7.23 is pretty dang good. Obviously, he got injured a little bit, so he didn't play a whole lot of appearances, so that was kind of disappointing, but I still think he's probably an improvement over Tellez. Even though Tellez had patches when he was really good, but Tellez was a little bit more inconsistent than Theo Hernandez was, and I think that's something we needed this season was consistency. And Youssoupha Moukoko finally came in. We bought him in like in the January in the first season. He finally came in, got 7 goals and 10 appearances and 3 assists, so that's pretty good. I mean, he played against weaker teams, but that's pretty good. In terms of transfers out, Fred obviously left for 50 million, 15 appearances, 6.81 for Tottenham. That's not very good. Bailly for 44 million, 6.8, 17 appearances. Not great for Bailly either. Patson Daka left for 31 million to RB Leipzig. He barely played. 5 sub appearances, 6.8. Youngster left. Loans out. Diallo did pretty well on loan at Hertha, 16 goals. I think he mostly played from that right inside forward position. Galbraith, pretty well for Blackburn. James Garner played pretty well for Derby. Shola played decently well for Derby as well. Brandon Williams didn't have the best season at Milan, only had 6.84, but he played a lot of minutes. He was their starting fullback. I think he played a little bit of left back and right back. If we actually look at, can't I see development tactics? Actually played almost entirely at left back. 41 appearances at left back, 1 appearance at right back. So Brandon Williams mostly played left back for him, and he didn't do the best, 6.84. I mean, it's solid. Chong, 6.78, but he's leaving after the season, so he was going to go no matter what. In terms of the results, the expectation was to win the Premier League, and we did it. With the 14-point lead over Liverpool. It was us and Liverpool every single season, and we were on top every single season. In terms of the Champions League, the expectation was to reach the semifinal. We won it. Beat Inter in the final. Not the toughest run-in. Obviously, Barcelona and City, Dortmund, that's pretty tough. But easy group. But our elimination games were pretty difficult. Top goal scorer, Erling Haaland, of course. The FA Cup, they want us to reach the final, and we won it. Rashford, Greenwood, and Youssoupha Moukoko, all with 3 goals in the FA Cup. That's kind of surprising. Not the hardest run-in, really. City is obviously very tough, but other than that, Sheffield Wednesday, Barnsley, Derby, Aston Villa, Everton in the final, even though they're playing really well this season. I think they got Champions League football. I can actually look if I look at the Premier League. Yeah, they got Champions League football. They didn't care about the Carabao Cup, but we won it anyways. I wanted to win it. I wanted to win all the local trophies, not including the Community Shield, because I don't count that as a season trophy, really. That's a glorified friendly. Still not a pretty difficult run, actually, for the Carabao Cup, facing Chelsea, a Bournemouth team who did pretty well this season. They obviously gave us a lot of trouble, took penalties to get past them. Then Man City in the final. Obviously, we played Man City in every single competition other than the Community Shield, which we lost to Liverpool 2-0, which I think was the catalyst for this season. Losing to Liverpool in that game made me decide, screw it, I'm signing Haaland. And he was the pivotal man to give us this perfect season. Unbeaten, winning everything. It was all Erling Haaland. He was at the head of everything. He might not have been our best player. Might have been Bruno Fernandes still. But he was the consistent striker we sorely needed. And that's the game that brought him to Manchester United. Because I was going to give the chance to the players we had going into this season. But Liverpool, the game showed me that they're just not consistent enough. I had to get someone who could consistently score goals, and that's Erling Haaland. Our biggest win is an 8-1 win over AS Monaco. A heck of a win. Our biggest match to remember, 6-0 win over Bournemouth in the Premier League. So, obviously, we were able to beat Bournemouth pretty well. Beat them 6-0, but they gave us trouble in the Carabao Cup. Goal of the season was Bruno Fernandes' goal in the 90th minute of the FA Cup. Let's see if we can watch this. Oh, not that one. I want this one. See if it'll let us watch it. Bruno Fernandes in the 92nd minute. I think it's a free kick, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it is a free kick. I mean, that's a pretty good free kick. I don't know if that's goal of the season worthy, but that's a pretty good free kick. Finances, reputation didn't change. We're already the best reputation we can get worldwide. Sponsorships went up a little bit. Broadcast revenue went down only $2 million, though. Corporate hospitality went down a little bit. Competition prize money, since we won everything, we got about $20 million more in prize money. A little bit less in match day. $58 million in merchandise sales. About 1.5 million shirts sold. Rashford, Holland, Bruno, Martial, Greenwood. Kind of what you'd expect. The strikers and Bruno Fernandes. I mean, I'm kind of surprised Pogba's not there. That's about the only other player I think would get on this list, other than the strikers. You know, maybe Pogba over Martial or Greenwood, because Martial didn't have a huge influence in this season. Obviously, he's been pretty good for the other seasons. It says Greenwood's our second best striker. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's probably Rashford. Holland and Rashford, I think, would be my favorite front two this season. Greenwood obviously played pretty well for a pretty long stretch, but he was just, when he went bad, he went so bad. Like, he was either 7.1, 7.2, or 6.4, 6.5. One of the two, never in between. Van de Beek and Fernandes. Van de Beek was the surprise of this series. He's been so good. I fully expected Pogba to dominate that position, but Donny Van de Beek staked a claim for that position, and he wouldn't let it go. He was so good. Kimmich obviously just barely gets it in a defensive midfielder, I'm assuming, because Camavinga was about the same kind of average rating. Not the best from that position, but that's fine. It's just for a deep-lying playmaker, that's a fine rating. Teo Hernandez at left back, Dodo at right back. I'd probably agree with that. Shula, Twanzebe, and Skriniar definitely are center back partners. Skriniar in the middle, though. Which I think for being in that middle, the 6.94 is fine, because that middle rating, the middle center back seems to not get as good of a rating. So 6.94 there, I think, is a good rating. David De Gea, 7.29. Absolutely fantastic season. In terms of the accolades, I won Manager of the Month for a lot of months. One Manager of the Year. Donny Van de Beek, actually, our Player of the Season. That's surprising. I figured it'd still be Bruno Fernandes. But no, Donny Van de Beek. I guess, kind of came out of nowhere to have such a great season. Young player, Erling Haaland. Signing of the season, definitely Erling Haaland. Goal of the season, Bruno, which we saw. Top goal scorer, Erling. Most assists, Bruno. 22 assists. He got so many assists in this series. Most player of the match is Bruno. Highest average rating, Bruno. How did he not get player of the season? Most passes completed per 90 minutes, Camavinga. 45 passes per 90 minutes. That's pretty good. Records, most clean sheets by a player in a season, 35 clean sheets. Highest transfer fee paid, $134 million for Erling Haaland. Well worth it. Competition awards, Bruno won Portuguese Best Player of the Year. He also won the European Champions Cup Midfielder of the Season. English Player of the Year, De Gea. English Players Player of the Year, De Gea. Premier League Golden Glove, De Gea. European Champions Cup Goalkeeper of the Season, De Gea. European Champions Cup Defender of the Season, Shula. Ballon d'Or went to Erling Haaland. FIFA Best Men's Player went to Erling Haaland. FIFA Pro Player of the Year, Erling Haaland. English Premier Division Top Goal Scorer, Erling Haaland. English Players Young Player of the Year, Erling Haaland. Best Player in Europe, Erling Haaland. European Champions Cup Golden Boot, Erling Haaland. European Champions Cup Forward of the Season, Erling freaking Haaland. I think Erling Haaland's a little bit good. I think Erling Haaland and Bruno Fernandes and David De Gea are all a little bit good. So they've been the key to this series. One player at each level of the team. One midfielder, one striker, one defender. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is the only one that wasn't a signing by me. Well, I guess David De Gea was not a signing by me either. Yeah. So, two players that were already at the club, and Erling Haaland. Also kind of Nicholas Shula, who I signed. European Champions Cup Defender of the Season, obviously, is a pretty good award. For the history, your hard work and effort paid off on the pitch, and such a feat did not go unrewarded at their end-of-season ceremony. It was a superb season for Man United as they claimed their third successive title to back up their preseason credentials. Obviously, we've won the Premier League every single season of this save. Bruno Fernandes, 8.06 average rating in the Champions League. He is a little bit good. Hails me for an unbeaten season. best 11. Alex Tellez came in. I'll look at this later. I'll look at the best 11 a little bit later. I think that's about everything for the Golden Boot. We already saw. Dream Team was basically our team and Neymar and Messi. Rashford gets in there. Haaland, Bruno, Van de Beek, Sula, Twanzebe, Kimmich at right back, Teo at left back, De Gea in goal. I think we were probably the best team in the Champions League. De Gea goals, yeah, there's what we saw before. Every single one of our players at every single level of the team is the top player of the season for the Champions League. So that's pretty awesome. If we look at how we've gotten on over these years, start back, go to stages. Back in the first season, we got 96 points, 3 draws, 4 losses. Won the league by 5 points. That was a pretty good season. Obviously, 4 losses is a little disappointing. Only kind of bad one to Newcastle. Other ones, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool. You can see that. Maybe not Arsenal, but we should be beating Arsenal. Newcastle obviously is a bad loss, but only drawing 3 games, even though one of them is to Sheffield United, one of them is to Burnley. Tottenham, who have been awful this series. Obviously, if we look at Tottenham, they got 14th in the first season. Liverpool, Arsenal, and City also got the Champions League spots. Leicester, Chelsea got the Europa League spots. Fulham got a Europa League 2 spot, so that's pretty good for them. Wolves just miss out. Everton just miss out in this first season. They obviously got improved greatly over the course of this series. Tottenham did not. So first season, 96 points. Second season, a little bit worse, 95 points. But we only lost 1 game to Leeds United of all teams. But 8 draws, quite a few draws, lead us to only 95 points. Only 2 points ahead of Liverpool. Liverpool got 2 more points this season than they had last. Obviously kind of an expected top 4. Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, us. Wolves, Aston Villa, kind of surprise Europa League players. Leicester only getting Europa League 2. Arsenal in 10th. Tottenham in 11th, which is their best finish this series, which isn't good. They almost got relegated this season. If we look, we went to 96 points to 95 to 104 points. Unbeaten. 5 draws. Brentford City and Bristol City are a little disappointing to have in draws there. If we would have beat both of those teams, we would have got, 110 points? I would have liked to see that. I don't know if that'd ever be beaten if we got 110 points. Obviously, Liverpool not quite as good this season, only 90 points. And look at the gap between first and second and the third and fourth. That's such a huge gap. And it's the same every season. 11-point gap. That 8-point gap. Not a huge one that season, but this season, a huge gap between second and third. Everton obviously making the Champions League. Arsenal and Leicester, Europa League. Man City only getting Europa League 2. And they got their manager fired for it, but let's see. Leeds down in 13th. Wolves down in 14th. A pretty bad season for Wolves, but Tottenham in 16th. Very close to the relegation zone. They had 3 straight draws at the end of the season, which, the difference between them and the relegation zone is 3 points. If they would have lost those games, they might have gotten relegated. That would have been interesting to see. Maybe we need to do a, saving Tottenham series. I don't think I'll do it next, but that might be something we do in the future because they have not been good in this series. Obviously, they need a little bit of help. If we look at the stats for this season, team detailed, we didn't have the most possession, but we didn't even try. 51% possession for how little we tried to hold possession is pretty good. We didn't focus on possession at all. This is mostly a counter-attacking team. I don't think we're anywhere on headers. 20th. Headers 1, 10th. Yellow cards. I'm surprised we're not at the top for yellow cards because we got stuck in all season long. We got quite a few yellow cards. Only 2 red cards. Most points per game, obviously. Don't care about the form. 95 goals. 15 more than Liverpool. 2.5 goals a game. 93 expected goals, so we weren't much better than expected, really. The Erling Haaland was a lot better than expected, but the rest of our strikers were not as good as expected, so 16 penalties taken, only 12 scored. Best cross completion, most crosses completed, most goals from corners with 10, barely 1 more than Chelsea. Most goals from direct free kicks. I think Bruno Fernandes got 2 in 2 games, so I think that's kind of towards the end of the season. So we were at 2 for most of the season, and then we got 4 at the end. Indirect free kicks, we weren't that good, only 5. Pass completion, we were a second, 89, tied for first, so pretty good passers. Even though we didn't even try for short passes or anything, we went standard passing, so didn't complete a whole lot of passes, the least in the league, but we were completing them at a good rate. created the most clear-cut chances, most shots on target, one of the best shots on target ratios, one of the best conversion rates, most shots per game. We were fouled the most by quite a bit, almost 100 more fouls than any other team committed on us. Only ninth in dribbles per game. Lost possession the least amount of any team in the league by about 500 times. That's pretty ridiculous. 9 conceded goals is just absurd. 9 goals in a full season is absolutely ridiculous. Expected goals was only 17, so we got quite a few less than expected, but did not concede from a single corner. That is awesome to see. Did not concede from a single direct free kick. That's just mostly luck. Conceded from no indirect free kicks. We didn't concede a single, other than penalties. We conceded like 1 or 2 penalties, but other than that, we didn't concede a single set-piece goal. That is pretty amazing. I think a lot of that comes down to our center backs that were just really good in the air. Nicholas Shula, Skriniar, Harry Maguire, all very good in the air. And I think they really helped us not concede from these corners. And I think my set-piece instructions also as well helped. 29 clean sheets, 10 more than any other team. 3rd in fouls. 5th in tackles won. 13th in ratio. We didn't have many blocks. 20th. Didn't win possession very often because we didn't lose the ball very often. We didn't need to win it. Least amount of clearances. 9th in interceptions. We conceded 2 penalties all season. I don't know if they scored both of them. It doesn't say anywhere how many were scored. But I'm pretty sure at least one was scored. So that, I guess that's technically a set-piece goal. Only 160 shots against us. Only 66 of those were on target. We had the best average attendance. 100% capacity. We sold out every single game. 19 sellouts. Highest attendance. Nowhere on lowest attendance. We had the highest low attendance, obviously, because we sold out every single match. Only 2nd in transfer spend. Man City spent more than us, but we are spending more on wages. Most wages in the league by about 12 million. So, if we look at the player detailed, I'm not going to go through all of these. Yellow cards. Paul Pogba got a lot of yellow cards, but he's really the only one that had a bunch of yellow cards for us. Guess that's why our yellow cards weren't so high. Red cards, Hannibal and McTominay were our 2 players to get red cards. Man of the match is Bruno. Distance covered, nobody. Per 90 minutes, I think we have somebody. Nope, nobody per 90 minutes. Average rating, all of our team. Erling, Bruno, Donny, Teo. Teo actually 4th best average rating in the league. Maybe I didn't give him enough credit for how good he's been this season. Teo's been very good. Tellez is up there too, though. So, yeah, I don't know if we need to pay $100 million for 0.04 rating, but whatever. Goals: Erling Haaland. No one else on the top goal scorer. That's really disappointing. But expected goals: Mason Greenwood. That's what's especially disappointing. Greenwood 13 expected goals. Didn't even have 10. So very high or very much underneath his expected. Rashford got quite a few goals per minute. So for the time he got, he played pretty well. So did Martial. But they just didn't get a whole lot. I played all of them quite a bit. So not one really got a whole bunch of game time other than Erling Haaland. Shots on target. Shots per 90 minutes. Free kick goals. Bruno with 3 free kick goals is pretty awesome. Penalties. Erling 6 of 7 for penalties. Bruno 2 of 4. So he wasn't as good on penalties this season. Assists, Bruno 2nd with 12 assists. Greenwood up there with the assists, though. 8 assists is pretty good. Most assists per 90. Key passes per 90. Clear-cut chances created. Actually, the most was Dodo. That's surprising. Run beyond passes completed. Crosses attempted. Bruno. That's surprising that Bruno's up there. Bruno, one of the best cross completions. Dribbles, I don't think we had anybody. Who was most fouled on our team? Dodo, actually. And Tellez. Tellez, actually, more than Dodo. So our fullbacks were getting fouled more than any other player. That's interesting. I don't think we're going to be anywhere on any of the tackles because we didn't give the ball over much. Conceded 5 goals by David De Gea. Absurd. 24 clean sheets in 29 appearances. Penalties saved. He saved 1 out of 2 penalties. So that 1 penalty was scored on us all season. That is the only technical set-piece goal that was conceded on us, was 1 singular penalty. That's pretty dang good. Save ratio of 89%. It went down a little bit towards the end of the season. Obviously, we conceded a couple goals here at the end. One against Liverpool, one against, well, I guess that's Champions League. Only one really in the Premier League. One against Brighton. I don't know if, is that all competition? That shouldn't be all competitions, right? That should be just the Premier League, those stats. I think so. So I don't know why it went down so much. We only conceded 2 more. I guess because 2 goals for David De Gea is quite a bit when you only concede 5. So that's pretty good. Also, look at something else. Look at the club info. We are a favored personnel, along with Rashford, Donny, Martial, and Mason Greenwood. Bruno Fernandes is an icon, along with David De Gea. I think that's everybody on the team. If we go to history, 5 Champions Leagues for the club. I think we won 2 of them, 2021 and 2023. 23 Premier Leagues, including 3 with us. 2 FIFA Club World Cups, including 1 with us. Super Cup, we won 1 of them. FA Cup, we won 2. Championships. Carabao Cup, we won 2 in the last 2 years. Community Shields, we won 1 in the first year. And our under-23s actually won the Papa John's Trophy this season. So that's pretty cool. Or last season, I think it was. Last season they won the Papa John's Trophy. Look at competitions, what we just saw. Records. Let's look at the records. Most points in the season, obviously, 104. Most league wins in the season, 33. Anything else we've got? Fewest draws in the season, only 3. The first season, we actually had the fewest draws, obviously fewest defeats. We didn't get most league goals scored. That's kind of disappointing. We got the highest gate receipts, 4.05 million versus Dortmund in the Champions League group stage. So group stage match was actually our highest gate receipts. That's surprising. Anything else? Anything for players? Bruno Fernandes, highest average rating, 7.71. Yeah, that's in the first season. Most assists, 24 by Bruno Fernandes. Most clean sheets, 35 by David De Gea. Most player of the matches, 15 by Bruno Fernandes. So quite a few of our players getting into the most matches won in a row, 18. A lot of our players getting into the records. Most matches without losing should be us, but it hasn't ended yet, so I think that's why we're not on here. We're currently at like 60 nearly, so I think we've gone like 60 matches without losing in the Premier League. League positions, attendances, results, sequences, players, transfers. We'll look at transfers later. Best 11. Overall, best 11. Rashford and Haaland up top. I agree with that. Van de Beek and Fernandes. I agree with that. Camavinga. That's kind of questionable between him and Kimmich. They both played about equally as well. Neither of them played much better than the other. Dodo at right back. I would probably agree with. He was very good. He was a great signing by us. Tellez at left back. I would agree because Teo wasn't here long enough. Maguire, Tuanzebe, and Shula at center back. I probably agree with that. De Gea, goalkeeper. Yeah, looks fine to me. If we look at most goals scored in this series, 85 by Marcus Rashford. Quite a few more than any other player. 64 is second by Anthony Martial in 100 appearances. So in 21 more appearances, Marcus Rashford got, 15 more goals? 21 more goals. Got 21 more goals in 21 more appearances. So that's pretty good for Marcus Rashford. Obviously, this last season wasn't his best. His first 2 seasons were pretty good, though. Haaland with 35 goals in 39 appearances. Obviously, if we would have continued 2 more seasons, 3 more seasons, he would overtake Marcus Rashford for sure. Bruno Fernandes with 45 goals from midfield is very good. Considered Donny had 13. I wish it showed assists on here, too. Maguire with 16 assists, or 16 goals. Sula with 19 goals. Sula had more goals in less games than Harry Maguire, so I think I was right to put Nicholas Shula as my main man to target on set pieces. 54 goals by Greenwood. In terms of average rating, Haaland 7.43, Bruno 7.64, De Gea 7.25, Sula 7.22, Dodo 7.19, Tellez 7.18, Donny 7.3, Marcus 7.22. That's all the really significant ones. I mean, pretty good here by Martial, Greenwood, Bissaka, but in terms of previous seasons, Greenwood makes it over Rashford. I'm surprised by that. Oh, that's this season. Greenwood over Rashford this season. That's kind of surprising. Kimmich makes it. Teo, Dodo, Twanzebe, Skriniar, Shula. Yeah, pretty much what you'd expect. Green, I guess, was kind of the best one this season. He had the best stretches when he played well. So last season, Martial and Rashford. I would agree with that. It's probably the same as the first season. Yeah. Donny and Bruno, Camavinga, Tellez, Dodo, Maguire, Skriniar, Shula, Martial, Rashford, Van de Beek, Bruno, Camavinga, Tellez, Wan-Bissaka this season, obviously, because we didn't have Dodo yet. Maguire, Bailly, and Lindelof. Lindelof really fell off after that first season, as did Bailly. Like, so much we sold Bailly, but Lindelof was the next to go. Like, if I was going to do anything going forward, if I win another season, I would probably sell Lindelof and buy a third center back that I could rely on. If you look at the players, in terms of goals, this season, Erling Haaland, 35, Marcus Rashford, 20. So, like, Rashford got more goals in less games than Greenwood. So, I think Rashford was the better striker this season. Greenwood, 18. Bruno, 15 is pretty good. Martial, 12 for 27 appearances isn't bad, considering he's really started the season not scoring any goals. In his first 9 appearances, he had, like, 2 goals. So, he really stepped it up towards the end of the season. Pogba, 11 goals. Yusufa Moukoko, 7 and 10 is pretty good. They're against weaker teams, but still, that's pretty good. Last season, 31 by Rashford, 22 by Greenwood, 21 by Martial, 17 by Bruno. So Bruno actually scored 2 less goals this season. 12 by Pogba, 10 by Shula and McTominay. McTominay really was disappointing this season. He didn't get a whole lot of game time. Obviously, 50 appearances last year. Played quite a bit. He only got, if I can find him right here, 30 appearances this year, but only 2 goals. Not quite good enough. Sula with 9 goals and 47, so pretty similar to his previous season. First season, 35 Rashford, 32 Martial, 18 Greenwood, 13 Bruno, 11 Pogba, 11... Harry Maguire actually got the most goals in any singular season from a center back. 6 by McTominay that season, and only 24 appearances. So yeah, McTominay definitely was not as good in terms of goal scoring in that third season. So we really relied on Erling Haaland. The goals didn't really come greatly from anywhere else. Like Rashford with 20 is decent. Bruno with 15 is pretty good. 11 for Pogba is okay. Only 36 appearances isn't bad. Didn't score a whole lot of goals from center backs other than Sula. Twanzebe with 6. Maguire with 5. I guess decent amount of goals from our center backs. Let's look at transfers since we've been here. Transfer history. Obviously, this season we brought in Erling Haaland, Yusufa Moukoko, and Teo Hernandez. We let go of Patson Daka for $31 million. We just didn't need 6 strikers. So Patson Daka was the one to leave. Bought him for $20 million, sold him for $31, so a decent little profit. Youngster for $300K. Palistri's leaving us for like $20 million. He's just not very good. If you look at his rate attributes, he just hasn't improved at all this series, and he just doesn't look very good at all. So he's going on, and he doesn't fit the team either. He's a definite winger. He can play striker, but he has 10 finishing, so he's not a striker. A couple of youngsters on freeze. Previous season, we brought in Shula, Daka, Dodo, Skriniar. Nyman was a youngster on a free. And I think Joshua Kimmich came in that season too, so we spent a lot of money. Teo wasn't included, so about $304 million that season. We brought in quite a bit too. $196 million brought in. Dan James, $22.5 million. Phil Jones, $7.5 million. Matic, $6.6 million. Lingard, $7.5 million. $56 million for Diogo Dalot was huge, because I don't think he was very good for Tottenham. 6.77, 6.85. He was an average right back to below average right back. They spent $56 million on him. I got a better right back in Dodo for $25 million. That was the best bit of business we've done all series. Youngster for $1 million. Fred for $550 million is a great deal for us too. He was 6.84 in 18 appearances. 30 years old. To get $50 million for him is an absolute steal. Bailly for $44 million I think that's a pretty good deal too. He was not very good. 6.71. 6.77 for us the previous season. He's got amazing physicals, but those mentals just absolutely ruin him. Let's look at how Phil Jones did at Feyenoord. Didn't get a single appearance this season. And only 11 last season, even though he played well. Poor Phil. And Matic, I don't think really did anything for Ajax. Only 3 total appearances for $6 million. Not a very good deal for them. Lingard, I think he had a really good first season, 7.17, and then a not very good season this year, only a 6.76. I don't know where they played him. If I look at tactics, attacking midfield mostly. He did not play well there. I don't know where they played him last season, but obviously I don't know what they did differently, but they should have done what they did the first season this season. In terms of the first year we were here, obviously our only signing was Camavinga and a couple players on loan. Camavinga, a little bit disappointing, but those attributes look so good. Like, I think he's going to come good in this. He would have come good in this series. Like, he would have had a good rating eventually. His attributes are just too good for him to be bad. 15s in every important category except for teamwork. Like 17s or 16s and so many of them that you need for a deep line playmaker on defend. He just grows ridiculously well in Football Manager this season. I still think he's worth it. He's probably the best deep line playmaker in the game right now. Him or Kimmich probably. And I have both of them, obviously, even though they're not performing. We sold Juan Mata the first season for $7.25 million. He had a really good first season with Arsenal. 7.47 average rating is pretty ridiculous, but after that, he's been awful. Barely played for Ajax. Sold some youngsters. Alvaro Fernandez was the second probably best bit of business we did. Some youngster that we sold to Aston Villa for $15 million. Obviously, he's got amazing physicals, but not really very good anywhere else. Don't know if he's ever going to be a first-team player. He's 20 years old, and this is what he is. Don't know if he's ever going to be good enough to be in a first team. They loan him out every single season, so yeah, $15 million for that I think is a good deal for us. I think that's about everything I wanted to go over. I got my list here. Top goal scorer obviously was Marcus Rashford. Top assister was definitely Bruno Fernandes. He got like, I don't know how many assists he got in the league. Let's actually look. He got 12, 24, 37 assists in the league. All competitions, he got, 22, 24, 21. So that's 43, 67? 67 assists in 3 seasons. That's pretty ridiculous. That is really freaking good. But I think that's everything I wanted to go over. I think that's the end of the save. I've shown you about everything that happened on this during this save. Showed you all the players. I might go over some individual players. David De Gea, obviously very good average ratings. Conceded 9, 13, and then 5. 24 clean sheets is just ridiculous. Shula was great for us. Over 7s every single season. 7.18, 7.25. Kimmich was a little bit disappointing, but he really came on at the end of the season. Like, he played well at right back when we absolutely needed him to. So I don't know if he's worth $100 million, but he came good when we needed him to. We already saw Camavinga. Bruno is, like we saw, is absolutely fantastic. Just ridiculous average ratings. Donnie, the surprise of the series. Really good average ratings these past 2 seasons. Martial was average. Erling Haaland was a very good 1 season with us. Any other players I want to look at? Paul Pogba. He was a decent player. Obviously, 7.1s basically every single season. Not as good as Bruno or Donny van de Beek, but he was a great third option. But really, Paul Pogba should be more than that. But so I'm a little bit disappointed in Paul Pogba. Mason Greenwood, I'm a little bit disappointed in. Didn't get a single double-digit goal season this whole series. Average rating around a 7. I expected more from Mason. He looks really good, like amazing physicals, some pretty good technicals, some pretty good mentals. But he just didn't really perform this series. A little bit disappointing. Rashford was the man. A lot of goals. Not really this season, but he didn't get a whole lot of appearances. 9 goals and 15 appearances isn't bad. So he had a decent season this season. He just didn't get a whole lot of opportunities because he was just so hot and cold. He scored a lot when he was in form. He did not score anything when he was out of form. That's about it. I think we're going to leave the series at that. This has been Reimagining Manchester United. I hope you've enjoyed. I've enjoyed this journey. It was not the longest journey. Only 3 seasons, but I think there were 3 great seasons. If you've made it this far, why don't you like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. The links to all my socials are also in the description. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you in my next series.